welcome to AfriVox Daily Business Update, your morning window into the market, companies, commodities, and economic development shaping business across Nigeria, Africa, and the economy globally. My name is Adeyoji Olamide, and I will be bringing you every business update that you need to know, because why not? You need to stay updated. Today, global commodity markets are starting on a firm footing, with crude oil pushing above $91. A barrel as uncertainty around shipping through the strategic Strait of Hormuz continues to unsettle traders. In Nigeria, the naira is trading around the 1,350 naira to the dollar level in the official market, while activity on the foreign exchange market has also picked up. And in the corporate space, the Dangote refinery has secured a $1 billion underwriting program ahead of its planned initial public offering. Those are the stories coming up. This is AfriVox, business that matters to you. Now, these are the top business headlines. Here are the major business stories this morning. First, oil prices remain above $90 a barrel. Brent crude rose for a fourth consecutive session on Wednesdays as traders assessed conflicting signals over shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Reuters reports that Brent was around $91.44 per barrel, while US West Texas Intermediate was around $85.45. I must say that is a lot. The concern is straightforward, as you can see. Continued disruption around one of the world's most important energy corridors could restrict the movement of crude and keep prices elevated. Those are the stories that is coming up, and this is AfriVox, the business that matters to you. I'll be right back after a short break. Stay with me. For Nigeria, higher crude prices can mean stronger export earnings and improved government revenue, but the benefit comes with a warning. Higher global energy prices can also increase transportation, production, and import costs, putting renewed pressure on businesses and customers. And secondly, the naira remains relatively firm. The Nigeria currency is trading around 1,350 to $1 in the official foreign exchange market, according to the report on today's market. Meanwhile, turnover on the Nigeria foreign exchange market reached about $1.41 billion on August 17, its highest level in 5 weeks. That increase suggests stronger activity in the official FX market as businesses and investors respond to changing currency conditions. Third, Dangote refinery moves closer to a major capital market transaction. The refinery has secured a $1 billion underwriting program ahead of its planned IPO. The program includes a $600 million private placement and a further $400 million linked to the planned public offering. The proposed listing could become one of Africa's most significant capital market transaction. Now we'll be going to the Global Commodities Watch, but we are going to go on a short break, and when we are back, we'll get right to the business. Welcome back, and now let's take a closer look at the commodities. Crude oil. Brent crude is trading around $91 a barrel following another rise in early Wednesday trading. The immediate driver is geopolitical risk, particularly uncertainty surrounding the Strait of Hormuz. WTI is also trading above $85 per barrel. The market is watching shipping activity closely because prolonged restrictions could tighten available global supply. For oil-producing countries like Nigeria, this creates a potentially positive revenue environment. But for manufacturers, transport operators, and consumers, expensive crude can eventually translate into higher operating costs. So the oil story today is a balance between higher export earnings and higher domestic cost pressure. Now we're going to talk about gold. As we all know, gold is one of the assets that is closely watched every day because of its depreciating and appreciating values. So now let's talk about gold. Gold remains one of the most closely watched safe haven assets. Spot gold was around $4,337.59 per ounce early Wednesday, while US gold futures were around $4,391.20. Gold has fallen sharply in the previous session as US Treasury yields increased, but investors continue to monitor the metal because of geopolitical tensions and expectations around US monetary policy. In simple terms, when investors become nervous, currencies, inflation, interest rates, or geopolitical risk, gold tends to attract attention. Now we're going to talk about silver. Silver has also experienced significant volatility. The metal has been moving sharply alongside gold and broader expectations for interest rates and industrial demand. The message for commodity investor is very clear. Volatility remains elevated across precious metals. We are going to go on a short break, and when we are back, we are going to talk about the agricultural segment. I'll be right back. Stay with me. A recent AFEX reference snapshot puts Nigeria exchange prices around. Rice is meant to be 345 naira per kilogram, while maize is 337 naira per kilogram, and we have sorghum for 322 naira per kilogram. These are exchange wholesale reference prices, not necessarily what consumers pay in retail markets actually. The price a farmer or bulk trader receives can be very different from the final price paid by a household after transportation, processing, storage, packaging, and retail margins. So right now, I'll be going on a short break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about the Nigeria business updates. So don't go anywhere because I will be right back. Thank you. Now to Nigeria's business environment. The Nigeria Exchange has recently experienced renewed selling pressure after a strong July. Reports indicate that investors have been moving some funds from equities into fixed income instruments, contributing to a recent decline in market capitalization. One report says the market has lost momentum amid 6 consecutive sessions of losses, and that's a lot of losses to say. This follows a more stronger July when Nigeria equities added approximately 10.9 trillion naira in market capitalization, driven largely by investor positioning around corporate earnings, particularly banking and insurance stocks. So, what should investors take from this? Now I'm going to ask, what should investors take from this? Now we're going to talk about that. The Nigerian market is showing two different stories. On one side, corporate earnings and investor interest remain supportive. On one side, corporate earnings and investor interest remain supportive, and on the other, high yields in fixed income assets and profit taking can encourage investors to reduce exposure to equities. That means market volatility could remain elevated as investors compare risk, return, and liquidity. For ordinary Nigerians, movements in the stock market may seem very distant, but they matter because pension funds, institutional investors, and business are connected to the capital market. Our business spotlight today is the Dangote Refinery. The refinery has secured a $1 billion underwriting program ahead of its planned IPO. The facility, located near Lagos, has a stated processing capacity of approximately 700,000 barrels per day. The proposed IPO is attracting attention because of the refinery's size, its importance to Nigeria's energy sector, and the potential impact of a major listing on the country's capital market. The development also comes as the refinery increases its role in supplying refined petroleum products to domestic and regional markets. For Nigeria, the bigger story is about moving further down the value chain, from exporting crude oil toward refining, processing, and potentially exporting higher value petroleum products. That could create opportunities for logistic companies, manufacturers, financial institutions, energy service providers, and other businesses connected to the petroleum value chain. Now, let's talk about the FX and money markets because we need to check the currency. The Naira is currently trading around 1,350 per US dollar in the official market. At the same time, foreign exchange market turnover has strengthened. The reported $1.41 billion turnover on August 17 indicates increased activity among market participants. For Nigeria businesses, the exchange rate remains a critical variable. Importers watch the Naira because it affects the cost of machinery, raw materials, spare parts, and finished products. Exporters, meanwhile, monitor the currency because exchange rates movements affect the Naira value of their foreign earnings. And for households, the exchange rates can eventually influence food, transportation, electronics, medicines, and other imported goods. So the key word for today's FX market is stability, but with continued attention to liquidity and external pressure. So what does all this mean for Nigeria businesses today? Number one, energy costs remain a major risk. With Brent crude above $90, businesses should continue to watch for transportation and logistics expenses. Number two, currency stability remains essential. A relatively stable Naira can help importers plan their costs and gives businesses greater confidence when preparing. Number three, commodity volatility creates both risk and opportunities. Farmers, processors, and commodity traders need to watch international prices, weather conditions, and local supply. And for the last one, which is number four, investors should expect selective opportunities rather than a one-direction market. Corporate earnings may support selected equities, while attractive fixed income yields can continue pulling money away from riskier assets. In short, watch your costs, protect your cash flow, and avoid making decisions based solely on today's headline price. And that's where we wrap up AfriVox Daily Business Updates today. But before then, let's do a recap. Brent crude is holding above $91 a barrel amid continued uncertainty around the Strait of Hormuz. Gold remains above $4,300 an ounce, with investors watching U.S. interest rates, expectations, and geopolitical risk. Nigeria's naira is trading around 1,350 naira to the dollar in the official market, while FX market activity has strengthened. And the Dangote refinery has secured $1 billion in underwriting support ahead of its planned IPO, putting one of Africa's biggest corporate transactions firmly in focus. For businesses, investors, and households, today's lesson is simple. Global markets are interconnected. What happens in oil, gold, currencies, and food commodities can eventually reach the factory, the markets, and the household. My name is Adeyoju Olamide, and you've been listening to AfriVox Daily Business Updates. Stay informed, stay safe, and I will see you where the story is.